Good morning and welcome back to the coverage of the European Championship 2019. 19 is one of the keywords this weekend because we got 1,900 players making this the largest ever European Championship of all time. We kicked things off on Friday. We streamed on Friday already the top 8 player playoff, where we had the 8 most consistent players over the course of the last year punching 3 tickets to Worlds. We saw Joshua Schmidt, Europe's most successful duelist, some would argue. Then we had Jonas Koschel, super consistent the last year, basically like a new sensation. Nobody knew him 3 years ago, now he's going to Worlds. And Rafael Neven, the points leader going into the event, all making sure that they can go to Berlin, where they're going to be playing in August for the World Championship and representing Europe with pride. And we're kind of doing the same thing today, because 4 more players can win a ticket to Worlds today. To do that, they had to do really well yesterday in our 8 rounds of Swiss. Had to have 15 points or more, or be in the top 256 players. And after 3 more rounds of Swiss today, we're going to be cutting the field down a second time to just 64 players, who then have to win 6 more rounds, if I'm not mistaken, to make it all the way to the finals and become the European champion. Although most of these guys are going to be happy if they just end up in the semi-finals, even if they lose, because they're going to Worlds. So that's the story for the weekend. The stage has been set here and we got a bubble match. These guys need to win to have a chance at advancing to the top 64. If they lose this match, they're not completely out, but their chances are dwindling like crazy. They need to have a really, really good tiebreaker. So without any further ado, let's bring them in. In the blue corner, we got Imran. Good morning.
Good morning.
I saw you yesterday. You have a fixed seating, which comes with the privilege of being a national champion. Which national championship did you win?
I won the Polish national championship.
But you are from Berlin, like some of the other national champions.
Yeah.
So how come you did play in Poland?
I didn't have time this weekend where the German nationals were, and that's why I had to play the Polish nationals instead.
It's always a big step up, winning a national championship and then playing at the European Championship, where the level of competition is even higher. What was your day one like? You have a really good record.
My day one was okay, I guess. I started 6-0. Then lost the last round and drew the round before, so it's okay.
It's okay.
My tiebreak is pretty good. So.
Tiebreak is pretty good. You're still very much in there. Okay. Are you happy with your deck choice without giving away what you're playing?
Yes, I'm happy with it.
Very happy.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about playing in the feature match now?
I'm a little nervous because it's my first feature match. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to do well. Please have a seat. Okay. His opponent is also a national champion, just not this year. It's Oliver Newton from the UK. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks. You?
Yeah, I'm okay. I had a weird nightmare. I woke up with a hot sweat because I was playing in the feature match and I played Mystic Mine on an empty board. How are you? You feeling today? Good, okay. What was your day one like?
I lost round 1, and obviously I haven't lost a game since, but I got a draw. Because game 1 with my draw, it was 36 minutes and I lost. I won, I mean. Then game 2, he summoned this dragon of LP that deals 500 points of damage when sent to the grave. It ended up being a draw.
Okay, so that must have not been nice, but you still very good record after the first day. What was your expectation going into the tournament? Did you think you're going to make day 2, or did you think you're going to go to the top cut?
I thought I was going to go like 5-3, 6-2, so a little bit better than I expected.
Okay. So great start into the tournament. Please also have a seat. Good luck to you as well. So let's roll the die to see who's going to go first between you two. Imran's got a 6 and a 6. Okay, he's got the nuts. And Oliver needs to match this. He doesn't. So you can decide who goes first.
I'm going to start.
You're going first? Yeah. Okay, Imran wants to kick things off for us. With that, the stage has been set. Our commentators are ready. Let's take it away, guys. Marcello Barberi and Daniel Neville.
Hello and welcome to round 1 of the final day of WCQ Utrecht. Like Ollie said, there are 3 spots to play for at the World Championship at this event. Top 3 players are going to be going and joining Joshua, Jonas and Raphael in representing us at the most prestigious event of the year.
Yeah, we still have a lot of action going on. We have 3 more rounds of Zwifts for today and then top 64. And the highlight of the day is, of course, as you were saying, the World Championship. There are still a lot of good players in contention. We are going to follow a lot of them. We have national champions.
Yes.
Actually, both of these guys have been or are at the moment national champions because Imran won the Polish national. Oliver did win the UK nationals a couple years ago.
2015, I believe.
Yes, so they are both successful players, and yeah, you're still watching the European coverage because there is actually an Imran Khan from the US who is super famous because his brother is actually also a YCS winner, so these Khan brothers are really in the spiral format, especially they were tearing apart USA events, but in this case it is the German Imran Khan for us, still a very good player. But what I want to focus on is, of course, we are just at the start of day 2. We had 1900 players yesterday, but now that we go into day 2, things change a lot. As Oliver said, 15 or more points were needed to go into day 2. Anyway, let's take a look at what the deck breakdown looked like at the beginning of yesterday. I'm going to bring it up for you guys.
So, I mean, going into yesterday, we saw that Salman Great was really leading the pack. Not unsurprising, all of the recent European events, even nationals, we saw Salman Great super represented. This event was no different. Orcust, Sky Striker, Thunder Dragon, the other parts of the big 4 really showing that they were also very represented, and perhaps a bit more so than we would normally expect at an event. And this shows that people are bringing their A game to the European Championships.
Absolutely, like we can see, I mean, the last format and is been probably characterized by having these many different decks, and it is no surprise that when you go to the European Championship, you're going to have duelists from all over Europe competing, so everyone wants to bring what they're comfortable with, what they might have been playing at their local or regional events throughout the year, so you see a lot of different decks. But now that we actually get into the beginning of day 2, the situation doesn't change that much, but you can see the numbers, of course, are drastically lower.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite interesting because we do see that Salman Great is still really holding on to that lead. And that's kind of surprising because going into this weekend, particularly as we saw in the points playoff, Thunder Dragon was a hot favorite to really take this event. And it feels like it's kind of losing its foothold. So we'll have to see how many of those are able to convert to top 64. They're the kind of 2 big decks to watch.
Yeah, I would say that actually Altergeist, even though the numbers are of course not that high, is doing well in terms of conversion rate. And spoiler alert, we actually have one of those Altergeist players here. If you guys have watched the UK Nationals that me and Daniel did do commentary for a couple of weeks ago, we featured Oliver. He topped with Altergeist, so no surprise that he decided to bring it to the European Championship as well. He is trying his best. He has a very good record at the moment, so good chances to make it into the top cut. And his opponent is on?
Yeah, so his opponent is on Danger Orcust. It's a pretty interesting list because he has actually decided to have Shaddoll Fusion available to him, as well as certain cards that can really benefit from the ability to send from deck to graveyard. Obviously, you're quite happy to send Orcust cards, but he also has things like Farfa, Malbranch of the Burning Abyss, which can help him solve problems. So I think this is quite an interesting matchup. Clearly, both of these players are very skilled, so I think we are ready to go to the match, and we can see how it goes from here.
Okay, so Imran did win the title, which is a pretty good thing. I'm pretty sure he does not have 2 copies of Armageddon Knight in his hand, but yeah, we will quickly fix that. He's actually playing 60 cards though, which is something that we have not seen as much in the Orcust deck. I think like Tom Rose was doing it at the UK Nationals. It wasn't as successful, but we saw a different version of the deck, maybe playing Isolde as well.
There's so many different variants of Orcust. The problem with being on the 60 card one is your opponent is pretty sure you're either on Orcust or Pendulum straight away, and it's often dangerous to give so much information immediately. But clearly Imran has been doing well with this, and the power of 60 cards is, first off, you're less likely to draw your Orcust Nightmares, which clearly did not happen here. But Additionally, it means that you are able to diversify your threats a bit. We see Mathematician coming
Yeah,
down.
Mathematician comes down, a card we have not seen ever since I think Joshua Smith won YCS Prague with Paleozoics. It is now back at 3 and is a force to be reckoned, so...
I think it was played in Dante's Cat at UK Nationals.
Oh yeah, I
last
guess,
year.
but... Yeah,
But a very popular card. Like, it is definitely one of my favorite level 3 monsters.
Absolutely, like, it is such a good card. I mean, I have to love it because I won an event with it back in YCS London, so I felt in love with the card immediately, both because I am a mathematician, actually, so you gotta stick with it, and he also shares the
It's a
beard
flavor
passion. So, yeah.
So would you be an Earth monster if you were a Yu-Gi-Oh card?
I don't know. I wish I was a divine one, but I guess.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Just gotta win worlds, I guess.
Indeed. So now we're gonna see the usual combo from Imran, but he has quite a backup because he did set the Twin Twisters, which at the moment is actually useless, but he might be able to actually capitalize on it. And having a Foolish Burial on top, we have seen how it acts both as a starter and as an extender.
Yes, exactly.
So what targets does he have actually in his deck for Foolish Burial?
For Foolish Burial, I mean, we mentioned he has the Farfa. He also has Shadol Dragon, both of which are just utility cards. It means he can clear a monster card with it, or he can clear a spell or trap card. Additionally, he has all the Phantom Knight cards. He has all of the Orcust monsters, which all love being sent from deck to graveyard. So he has the ability... He also has World Legacy World Wand, which means if he is going to consider going into a Time Thief Redoer, he has super easy access to it. World Wand definitely became more difficult to utilize with the loss of Summon Sorceress, because you used to be able to summon Sorceress, target your Galatea, and summon World Wand from the deck. But when you do have easy access to it, it's such a strong card. Orcust Nightmare can also give access if you've already gained access to your hard power truant effects such as Mathematician. So we are seeing the World Wand being sent here, increasing a monster's attack by 800 points.
Absolutely.
Which probably will not be relevant here, but something important to keep in mind.
So here I think it is where like Imran experience is gonna come in handy, because if you have been following coverage, I think you might predict Oliver being on Altergeist. So it is quite possible that Imran is gonna maybe banish the boots to search a Fog Blade, and if I was him, I wouldn't even set the second Fog Blade. I would just keep it in my hand for Twin Twisters.
For sure.
Because you really want to use it in the end phase. Like if you're not seeing like an evenly matched from Oliver, which actually could be a possibility. We have seen the recent trend of Altergeist player maining evenly.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, unfortunately, yes, for Oliver, like he switched back, so he is not playing it anymore in the main deck, and he switched to 12 Antrops. So very unfortunate for him that he didn't open even a single one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate here. Like, I think the best draw for Oliver is still just to see an Infinite Impermanence off the top, because that will let him get his multi-fakers going, and then he'll be able to multi-faker on his turn and also multi-faker on Imran's turn. Do you think Imran should have set his Orcust Crescendo as opposed to setting up Babel here?
I was about to say, I would definitely agree with that, especially if you know you're playing against Altergeist.
Right?
I mean, they're both powerful, to be honest, but...
But, like, I think Oliver, if you know him as a player, he has done really well with control decks. Obviously, back in 2015, he won UK Nationals playing Teller Knights. And so it's generally safe to assume that he's going to be on something like Altergeist, which allows you to play kind of a lot with traps and interrupting your opponent.
Yeah, even though at the same time I feel like if you're playing against like a very slow deck, then it is better to go for Babel, unless it is Sky Striker because of Mystic Mine. But just because Altergeist has been maining evenly, that's why I was considering Crescendo. Otherwise, I'm okay with Imran, and maybe he gets rewarded here. Because as you can see, the Antrop is unfortunately the 6th card from Oliver. You can see him shaking his head here.
That is disappointing. He is not even going to give the knowledge to Imran.
Picks up his cards. So Imran takes game 1. And again, something we have seen more for like these competitive players, I would say. So as we were talking, we are both national champions. So they know that it doesn't make sense to play games where you're going to lose anyway. Yeah. You might preserve information. And I think from Imran opening, we are safe to assume that he does not know what Oliver is playing.
100%. I think that's very reasonable to assume. Additionally, Oliver recognizes that with Altergeist, you have to be very conscious of end-of-match procedures because, you know, you're playing cards like Solemn Strike. You can't really afford to go to time. So I think scooping it up here early, not giving the information, and also making sure that you're able to get to that game tree and play it out fully is a very smart idea. He also gets to bring an Artifact Lancia, and that is such a backbreaking card in this matchup. If Imran doesn't know, it's unlikely that he'll remove the Shaddoll Fusions from his deck, which also is not a good card in this matchup. Because Altergeist is happy to just use Pot of Extravagance and never really go into his extra deck until turn 3 or 4.
Do you really expect Imran to do that? I don't think so. Like, if you're playing, most likely going to go second against any of the deck of the format, I think you always keep Shaddoll Fusion. You
exactly. I think he keeps it in, so he has increased likelihood of having brick cards.
Imagine if Oliver, though, does open the Melusik into Link Kuribo, and he gets blown out by Shaddoll Fusion still being in Imran deck.
That would be bonkers. Yeah, Link Kuribo in Altergeist is much worse than it used to be.
Yeah, and now, honestly, the decision of Oliver, as we were saying, to cut evenly for more hand shops, unfortunately came back to hurt him, because I'm not sure if he was still playing Valor UK Nationals, but it seems like it is one of those cards that he might have added in. Yeah. If instead that would have been an evenly, it would have been such a blowout, because he did have the Faker on top.
Do you think this is a matchup where Oliver can option to go second?
I do not think so, just because, I mean, he might because of the hand shops, but still, since he didn't show his deck, he probably just wants to go first, hoping that his opponent did not put in more removals, and his hand looks
like
amazing.
Wants to, yeah, we see the Pot of Extravagance coming down, which is really the turn 1 play that you want to see in this deck. Playing with a 6-card opening hand in a deck that is built around its 2-card combos of Trap Card plus Altergeist Monster is really nice. We see a Multi-Faker, we see a Spoofing, we see a compulsory evacuation device being picked up here. Classic card. And it will give him more play here. He'll also be able to pick up his Altergeist Protocol. Not the strongest setup, but between Protocol and Multi-Faker and Compulsory, he will have a lot of points of interaction for dealing with whatever Imran is going to attempt to do on his turn.
Absolutely. We were talking yesterday how old cards are back in this format, and Compulsory is one of the oldest drops in the game, and still being very relevant, especially because you can search it with the Trap Check. So
we see Trickstar Korrabane coming down, and this is a card that has really been performing well for this deck. It kind of took the place of Lilybell as a search target for Trickstar Light Stage, because if you control no other monsters, or you only control Trickstar monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. Indeed. It gets to beat over the Marionetter.
Yeah, even though Oliver could have actually negated it with Protocol, because you have to reveal the Korrabane. But of course, since he already has access to Multi-Faker and Spoofing, he doesn't really need to. At the same time, very unfortunate for Oliver that Imran didn't know what he was up against, but still managed to open a Twin Twister in 60 cards, which is quite a blowout at this point. So
skillful ego.
And we're probably gonna see it now, and this is gonna hurt a lot. Yeah.
I mean, it is not the biggest loss, because he returned a card that he's just going to summon, which is Multi-Faker.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily for him, he did have a Multi-Faker in hand.
Yeah.
So this is going to be quite good for him. But at the same time, now you can see why some people are not playing Phantasme. He's not going to be able to use the Phantasme this turn because Multi-Faker locks you under summoning Altergeist monsters. So maybe not the best decision to play this card in his deck.
Yeah, I remember a few times when Altergeist was still relatively new. So like Flames of Destruction had come out, people were just getting Multi-Faker and the deck got a massive power boost then. And a lot of people saying, oh, I did this awesome Altergeist combo where I summoned Multi-Faker and ended on Boral Sword. Or Boraload, and it's just like,
Yeah.
It would be such a strong card if it did not have the restriction, and even as
it is pretty good,
insanely good.
That's why in the OCG, I think it is limited, or maybe a 2, but surely not a 3.
Yeah, we saw OCG lists playing Sangan, because you would be able to link with it turn 1, and then search Multi-Faker so that you would have it ready for your opponent's turn.
Ooh, and now the Shadow Fusion was still in his deck as we predicted, but luckily for him, the Danger snipes it. And now he does have access to the combo, but he has to be careful because he knows that the last set from Oliver is a protocol. So
yeah, exactly. Oliver is going to want to potentially get this Multi-Faker back to hand. A Phoenix is coming down.
Ooh, it seems like he's using the effect.
I think he has to use the effect here
Yeah.
and hope that he has a way to get back into Phoenix, but that seems very difficult. He has the Babel in his hand.
I mean, he does have the Nightmare in Graveyard, which is pretty good here, at least. And to be fair, Oliver is left with barely no cards at this point, because as we were saying, the Phantasme is completely useless here. And it's quite a bad spot, so he is now able to use both. Yeah, he should send that to... Oh, okay. Yeah, a little bit of a confusion because he banished the cloak, but of course, if he could add Orcust cards, it would be just ridiculous. He needs to get either the boots. He could have added the Brigandine, but unfortunately, like Galatea requires you to use effect monsters. So we did see that on stream a couple of times where players just didn't know about that and thought they could use Brigandine to actually summon Galatea, which
would be really strong.
Yeah, and it would have been full combo here for him, but unfortunately he does not, so he's still in a really good spot, to be fair.
Yeah. World Legacy World Wand being sent from the deck to the graveyard. It gives him setup to be able to summon monsters, but he is going to face the problem that he still has the Altergeist bounce here.
Yeah. At the same time, though, it did not normal summon, so this is going to be quite a good start. The only things he was going on in this turn was the Carobane and then some dangers, so very good setup here. I really don't see how Oliver can come up from this. And here you can see the difference from like the Phantasme being another Entrop.
Yeah, well, I mean, Oliver still gets to interact with one more card here. So he prevents the summoning of Mermaid, which is really crucial.
Yeah, Mermaid cannot even be summoned at this point because he's locked under Darks, but if he goes for Galatea, for example, then he can spin that back. He has to rely on this Silk carrying the game, really.
I think if Babel is played here, you just bounce the Orcust Nightmare. It might be correct to just bounce the Orcust Nightmare now.
Possibly. I mean, he did use the Orcust Nightmare still. Like, he used it at the beginning of the turn, so...
Yeah.
You don't really mind it here, but...
But you know that in your opponent's hand, it's much more difficult for them to do anything with?
Yeah. I do agree, so... Yeah, you can also wait. Though you're gonna give him a Fogblade, then... let's remember that Cloak cannot actually search Fogblade, because there is a little interaction where it says, like, the Phantom Knight's cards, and Fogblade isn't. So, also something to keep in mind.
Fogblade is only Phantom Knight's Fogblade.
Yep. Which is one of those, like, slightly obscure things, but... Now, yeah, we're probably gonna see just a Fogblade being searched, or a Brigandine, honestly. Like, I wouldn't hate either of those.
Yeah. Shade Brigandine is quite a good card.
Yeah,
for
especially
this
because
deck.
we know the protocol is there, so the Fog Blade, I mean, you can use it next turn, but once the protocol is gonna be set up, it is not the greatest card to be facing protocol.
Here comes the Babel. And this is why I think bouncing the Nightmare would have been preferable. We do see a multi-faker pickup. Or no, it's Meluseek.
Meluseek, okay.
Even better.
Even better, of course.
That's really strong here. He can summon Hextia if he wants and be able to search a multi-faker. But he can just go on a beatdown here.
Yeah, this is probably one of the best draws in Oliver's deck. He's completely back into this game. His opponent, Babel, is going to be able to send maybe the Art Porter, but now we see the Fog Blade coming down, not doing much at all. He's going to push some damage
You
and
don't
then...
care. You just continue attacking.
Yeah. Probably, as you were saying, make an Extia and search for the Faker. I mean, it is good enough. And now we have a game on our hands.
I mean, Hextia search Faker with the protocol backup.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything more you want to be doing at like 8:30, 9:30 in the morning on day 2 of an event?
So he goes for Linkuribo instead. Just to have probably the freedom of summoning something else with Faker, which I do not hate at this point because he does not want to have a situation similar to last turn where his opponent, like he's able to stun his opponent but then he doesn't have any engine cards. By keeping the Silk on his field, he's able to summon another Meluseek or a Marionetter with Faker. So.
Yeah, and he keeps 2 points of interaction, and getting a Meluseek is nice because he'll be able to send it to negate a monster effect and then get a search as well and have a Marionetter for the following turn. We see the effect of Orchestrated Babel, allowing the Orcust monsters to activate during Oliver's turn as quick effects, meaning that Harpower gets to summon a Nightmare from deck. Imran is really wanting to just draw any other monster card that he can start establishing a board, but it is not looking good for the Polish national champion here. We see Oliver wanting to activate spoofing. He decides against it. He says, no, just carry on. Do what you want to do.
I think there was some consideration here because he could just go for Mermaid. So if you were bouncing it, then the danger was probably one of the best draws if he sniped it. And okay.
Yeah.
So Imran has seen enough. Time was still honestly quite large, so I think he should have tried to play it through, but in the end probably there was too much going on from Oliver. He takes game 2, so it's 1-1 here, and we're gonna see Imran most likely going first in game 3.
Yeah, I think you have to realistically... I mean, your opponent's playing trap cards.
Yeah.
There's no real reason to choose to go second unless you are really afraid of evenly matched. But he can even bring in his Orcust Crescendo instead of Babel to stop evenly matched in game 3 if he is super worried about it. Out of cards that he has in his side deck that can interact, Unending Nightmare, quite a good card here.
Not the best, but it is pretty good against Protocol, I'll give you that.
Hits Protocol, it hits Spoofing, it hits Manifestation.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
Reasonable amount.
And for Oliver instead, we said that he was maining 9 Antrops outside of Phantasme. Phantasme now gonna be a lot better than he was in this game, because he's gonna go second, and he does have the 3 copies of Lancia. That are probably the best cards in his deck for this matchup, so it is gonna be a close one for sure. His deck I think is well positioned going second at this point. Like,
yeah, for sure. And this is why Altergeist can be good, particularly if we see something like Impermanence in Multifaker, or Evenly in Multifaker. Being able to get that extra turn up really makes a massive difference.
Yeah, even though yesterday we saw Ergos winning after double Impermanence in Multifaker, which was quite impressive, even though he was playing a different deck. If he was playing...
That's an evenly matched and a Pancratops by the looks of things.
And Impermanence.
Is there a Faker
and
to follow
Faker,
it
I think. Isn't it Faker?
I think there's a Meluseek, but there may also be a Faker. We see...
This end looks incredible for Oliver.
Yeah. Imran does not have a bad hand either, though. We see Unending Nightmare, Instant Fusion Twisters, Trickstar Candina, and Danger Jackalope.
Okay, no, it is not a faker. It's double Melusic, but still, very solid hand here. Impermanence is one of the best hand traps to draw against Orcust, just because it doesn't lose to Connector or Cold by the Grave. But
doesn't lose to Millenniumize Restrict either, which some
yes.
people have been playing this weekend as an Instant Fusion target. We see Candina searching Light Stage, which will then search Korobane. This is one of the one card into Nightmare Mermaids that we have seen be very popular for Orcust this season. Often taking place of the Connector package because of cards like Infinite Impermanence.
absolutely, and unfortunately, like the only way to play around the Impermanence is the other engine that Imran is playing, but did not draw into, which are like the Mathematicians or Armageddon Knight. It did not draw that. It did not draw like an R-Power or so. I think the Danger is gonna be the important card here. And if for some reason he decides to discard that with Mermaid, it is gonna be bad for him. So
using the Instant Fusion now is interesting because
yeah, I don't get it.
if you get interrupted, you can still normally try and end on a board of Dingirsu plus Winda and use Dingirsu to protect the Winda. Obviously not super effective against Altergeist, but it still means you have monsters on board.
I think he's gonna discard the Danger, yes, and this is gonna hurt, but at the same time, he has the option to go for like a full monster Time Thief, which in this matchup is actually quite good because the Altergeist deck has a lot of traps. So we might just see here a Chupacabra being summoned or like a Mothman, which he is playing in his deck.
400 damage from the Candina, punishing Oliver for playing his trap card from hand. Fortunately, he still has 18.5 minutes to try and get into a winning position this game. And he's definitely managed to shut down the main strength of Imran's deck.
I see he kept in Shadow Fusion going first. That seems like an odd decision, but as I was saying, he goes for the Mothman. It does make sense unless he's unlucky. We can see that in Oliver's deck there are 19 traps, which is quite a good number when you wanna go for a Time Thief. It's basically 50-50.
I mean, I like those odds.
Yeah.
It's not as good as Sky Striker, where you're just guaranteed to draw every turn, but it's pretty good.
Let's see, this is gonna be quite important for Imran. Let's see if he picks up the trap.
He top decks Multi-Faker. That's really nice because this means
wow,
he doesn't...
it is not a trap. Such an unfortunate... Wow. It is one of the few monsters that Oliver still had in his deck, and at this point he picks up a Multi-Faker, as you were saying, and this is gonna be a blowout. Like, evenly plus Faker is just so good, and not looking like Imran's game here.
And he has a Melseek as well, which means he'll be able to just do whatever he wants in his Altergeist plays this turn. We see Pancratops coming down first.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure that I agree with this play because the likelihood is that when you evenly, I guess...
I mean, he probably doesn't feel like he needed, and honestly, Pancratops can out the Time Thief, which is relevant. Because as we know, like, he doesn't banish itself or anything immediately.
No,
so
this is a misplay. You do not want to be attacking with Melseek.
This is actually a misplay.
When there is
by
a
Oliver, you can see him shaking his head. Mermaid still lowers their attacks, and
it's early in the day. He is going to chain no, he's just attacking with Pancratops.
Yeah, I'm also surprised here. You don't want to attack over the Mermaid here. You want to attack over the Time Thief. So I think Oliver is actually kind of shaking here. Might be the future match. Might be that he didn't drink his coffee this morning. So
he needs to focus up. He's still in a favorable position. He has the evenly matched. He has Link Karibo, which will be protecting his life points, and he has the Dino Wrestler Pancratops.
I do not like his position at the moment, to be honest, because like if he didn't want to go for the blowout with evenly plus Faker, then this play did make sense, but he should have ordered it completely the other way around. This is not good for him.
For sure.
Like, the evenly does nothing now.
Yeah. And the problem here is that statistically it's likely that the Redoer is going to see a trap card here. which means the Link Karibo will be lost. And if Imran can find any way into a Boral Sword
Oh my god, another monster!
Another monster.
Like Imran's luck is actually unbelievable.
Yeah, this is crazy. It is super unfortunate for him because it reduces his ability to interact. It makes the Time Thief Redoer super low impact. It's currently being threatened by the Pankratops because obviously Redoer does not banish until resolution.
Yeah, and he also picks up one of the worst cards in his deck, Set Rotation. Very good against some of the matchups, but not against Altergeist, and especially not after you already used your Trickster engine. All it does is getting a Babel, which is not what he wants here. Wow.
Yeah. And the problem is, if you get a Babel, you're either giving the Altergeist player...
Oh my god, what is this?
Is Oliver just playing monster cards? No, because he top decks a Pot of Extravagance, which is going to give him so much advantage here.
Yeah, this doesn't look... I mean, it was never going to be Imran's game, it looked like, but if he had the chance, it was with this Time Thief, and getting 3 monsters in a row is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I could not have expected this to be the direction that the game would go in.
Yeah.
Like, Imran went first. He was unfortunate that Oliver was able to open the impermanence, but it's just going from worse to worse here. We see the artifact Lancia being picked up, which means now the Time Thief Redoer is being actively threatened by the Pankratops. Yeah. A second Maliseek comes down. This one is not being reduced in attack points. It's going to come true. It is going to trade for a card on field. Time Thief Redoer is attempting to activate. Oliver says, sure, that's fine.
Yeah. Also, something that Oliver could have done was attacking with Pankratops, then chain it to the Time Thief, destroying it, and at the end of the battle phase, go for Evenly plus Faker. Yeah. I think I would have liked that, and he does shot the Twister as well, so...
So there's only an Unending Nightmare for interaction for Imran.
Yeah, looking absolutely tough for him. Oliver picked up Lancia as well, so I don't really see how he can get out of this.
Lancia Protocol Multi-Faker is insanely powerful here. Imran does not have card draw in the way Oliver does. Oliver does not have an extra deck monster, so Shaddoll Fusion is not live here. The Time Thief Redoer is prone. He will activate, but Pankratops can chain in response, or even Altergeist Protocol can negate its effect.
Are you surprised at all that he didn't use... I guess he wants to keep another Altergeist on board. Finally gets the trap, but yeah, it might be too late at this point, honestly.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because seeing a trap card earlier in this game would have made an amazing difference for Imran. Now the Time Thief Redoer is not going to be able to apply any pressure to this board. Trickstar Light Stage targeting the Protocol. Oliver says, I'm going to chain for no effect. Time Thief Redoer attempting to activate. If Oliver chains his Pankratops here, he can destroy the Time Thief Redoer.
Using, yeah. The thing is, he does have the set Unending Nightmare that is going to be able to deal with it, but at resolution, Oliver can still go for the Faker. And now we're going to see exactly what's happening here, so...
Oh, this is unfortunate for Oliver. I think if he had activated... Oh, he can't activate Protocol's effect on the chain after it is being activated.
He should have probably used it first, but this shouldn't matter too much. Now, the really unfortunate thing is that the engage is locked, and he's gonna try and attack over it, so maybe he can engage in Memphis 2, which is not the end of the world, but the Lancia, I think, is really gonna
there's Lancia,
end this game.
And even if stuff goes wrong for Oliver, he still has access to evenly matched multi-faker. He
Absolutely.
is bouncing the Redoer. Set Rotation comes down, and Set Rotation, while a powerful card, can also be quite dangerous for the Orcust player here, because if Oliver does not activate his field spell card, then there are scenarios where Imran gets
Is there a chance
stuck.
that he has the Mystic Mine in his deck, though? That could be
potentially
very good.
Yes. I will check his deck list quickly.
It doesn't seem like
I am not seeing Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine would... No, he is playing the one copy of Mystic Mine.
But there is a chance that he sided it out. Surprisingly, he gives his opponent the Babel, and he takes that. But this is going to be an engage for a +1 at least. trying to get back into the game. What do you think he gave his opponent, the Beibu? Just because of light stage locking the crescendo, or?
I guess light stage. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give my opponent light stage here. I would have considered giving them.
But I mean, at the same time, if you do manage to combo off, you can just destroy it. So I think I would have liked to. I mean, I guess he might have more targets for it, but
Yeah.
the pickup here is important. It is a Shadow Fusion, so one of the worst cards in his deck. I'm very surprised that he decided to keep it going first against Altergeist in Game 3.
Very odd.
Yeah, but at least he's gonna turn his deck into Sky Striker for a moment, getting a couple engages for a +1. So
Yeah, he's going to grab his Eagle boosters here and hope that he just draws cards which can have an impact here and really put him in a better position. Because looking at that Lancia and evenly matched in Oliver's hand, he is highly favored, and Imran is trying his best.
yeah, he's trying his best. Worst case scenario, to be honest, the Eagle booster with pre-spell engrave, it's pretty good against the Altergeist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can just like focus on using Kagari here and trying to end the game that way, but I'm not convinced that it is the solution.
It is what he's going for, but it doesn't seem like it is enough. And is there another pot? Wow. So Oliver picks up a second extravagance. Such an unfortunate series of draws
He
for
is
him.
running away with the game.
Yeah.
And like you said, so unfortunate for Imran. The cards have not been in his favor this game.
Absolutely not. Now Marionetter is picked up, and the thing is, if he can try and push a big enough monster, then he's able to just chain the Silk to the Eagle booster. So
yeah, at this point in the game, Altergeist has managed to develop such an impactful board. When Marionetter is being resolved for its on-field ability of summoning an Altergeist from the graveyard, you know that you are in a tough position, and Oliver is going to be able to do that, as well as, again, having the backup of Multi-Faker, and he is also applying pressure on the Kagari with the threat of activation of the Silk.
So now he can use the second effect of Marionetter, which is also a very good one. You get to use both the Silk effect engrave, taking back the protocol that was destroyed earlier on by the Unending Nightmare. So it's looking like it is Oliver game at this point. Time is also not on Imran's side, and he's on 1300 left, which is very low at this point. His hand is pretty much only including fusion spells, which is not the usual end of Orcust.
No, and not really where you want to be. Both of them summon El Shaddai Window, but El Shaddai Window is not sufficient here. Not even El Shaddai Construct, which would be able to really impact the game at this point. We see Silk activating and Eagle Booster being chained, protecting the Kagari, but Oliver now has 3 sets and a Silk. We know one of these is Manifestation, one of these is Protocol, the other one is the evenly matched. Multi-Faker comes down on the activation of the Protocol. Oliver is going to be able to summon a Marionetter or a Conquery if he wants. Lots of choices here.
Yes, I mean, honestly, all you want to do is just... I mean, you know that the Eagle Booster was there, so there was not much you could have done last turn, but now things have changed. The light stage is still decent, but we're still seeing the problem of... I think both players' side deck choices this match. Like, Oliver kept in Phantasma going first game 2, and he completely... It was stuck in his hand, basically, for the entire game.
Yeah.
And we are seeing the same thing here with Imran with his Shadow Fusion, so...
Yeah, the Shadow Fusion is just such a poor card in this matchup, because anytime that Altergeist does have an extra deck monster, it is probably a Hextia, and you can't do anything against that. If they have the Hextia set up, Shadow Fusion is not going to do enough.
To be fair, there was a moment in which Oliver only had the Linkuribo we're seeing now, but It is not something
it's
that
such an
happens often,
uncommon
especially when you are the
occurrence.
one going first. So I'm very
Exactly.
surprised that he had that in his deck. And very rarely you see Artifact Lancia sticking in the Orcust opponent hand for more than 2 turns, which really gives you away that Imran doesn't have much going on at all in this match, I would say.
Yeah. So I think we are just double checking
Absolutely.
because Multi-Faker was summoned this turn, if I'm not mistaken. Unless we have come back round to Oliver's turn.
Yeah, because he did use the effect of Marionette last turn. And now that's exactly what they're telling him, so...
Yeah, and he has cleared the board here. He is going to be able to continue establishing more and more Altergeist cards. And he still has the Artifact Lancia, which will be able to thwart any attempt to go into Orcust combos.
Now
Instant
the
fusion
danger
lost.
is gonna try, and unfortunately, even though there is a Link Monster on his opponent, he was summoned from grave, so Shadow Fusion is still useless.
I really dislike this line here because what Imran could have done if he set the instant fusion, he would have been able to activate Nessie. Nessie is guaranteed summon because even if it hits itself, it searches Tsuchinoko or it searches Jackalope. Then he would be able to summon one, activate the instant fusion, but
the handshake comes down. Oliver is the winner of the match, moving on with a 7-1-1 record. Very good chances for him to top. Let's go to the post-match discussion. Well, nothing to say really. Oliver proved once again that Altergeist is still, even if not that popular, one of the decks for this format.
Yeah, I mean, once the deck gets going, it's such a powerful force. It just says, I'm going to bounce something, I'm going to negate something, I'm going to draw loads of cards. And, you know, it worked for him. We saw that the Infinite Impermanence came in really important. Evenly matched could have been very impactful, but he was able to just rely on trusty old Dino Wrestler Pankratops, a very popular card
Absolutely.
this season.
I mean, overall, like, in game 1, we saw Oliver's decision to actually side for this event evenly and main a lot of hand shops not working. It was unfortunate because he did not open a single hand shop in game 1, so there was not much he could do. Anyway, they both had, I feel like in game 2 and 3, some slight misplays.
It's
as
early
we
in
saying,
the morning.
Yes.
It is very hard to be
They
playing
should
Yu-Gi-Oh
probably
right
both
now.
just get some coffee, something to eat, and focus on their next round because they both have chances to top.
Oh, for sure.
Imran obviously lower, but he's still in this event. So.
I mean, they're both such strong players. They just need to kind of get in the right headspace and just carry on. 2 more rounds, make top 64.
Absolutely. Overall, they should probably also review their side deck strategy, as I feel like, because overall the plays until the last game were pretty solid from both sides. But what I really didn't like was Oliver keeping the Phantasma in game 2, which is something we can ask him about now in the interview. And in game 3, the same thing from Imran with the Shadow Fusions. We did see, though, a back and forth match. In the end, Oliver, congratulations again for taking it. As a reminder, we will have 2 more rounds of Swift for today.
Yes.
And then top 64. A lot of action, but Oliver and Oliver are actually ready. So the Oliver brothers, let's go to them for an interview.
Yeah, it's double impact here on the main event stage with the full Oliver package. Congratulations. Well done. Well represented, the Ollies. They just said in the second game they gave you a lot of credit for keeping Phantasma in, because many people are citing it out in the second game. What was going on in your head? Why did you keep it in?
Decks like this side red reboot, so why would I side it in? I need to draw into my hand traps. So if they red reboot me, I drop Phantasma, draw my hand traps, I get another trap for my turn, because they probably won't be able to beat me. Because I've got a 2/4 body on field and have hand traps.
Right. So in the end it all worked out for you. Despite both of you guys making like minor mistakes, is it because it's still early in the morning?
I guess a little bit of pressure on the feature, attacking directly with a 0 attack Meadowseek.
Yeah, that's also true. So in the end, what was the feature match like for you? You did say it's adding a little bit of extra pressure going into the match. What was it now like? Also with the headphones on, you don't really hear what's happening around you. Is it a weird experience playing in the feature?
It's definitely a lot better with the headphones because you don't hear a lot of sound. There's still a little bit of pressure because, especially this morning, I checked the standards of last year's Euros and like 6x2 ones didn't top, and I lost round one. But my round one opponent did go 8-0, so it could go either way if I go x2-1. So it is kind of pressure, like being on a feature match and possibly on a bubble.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I can agree with that. Not going to give anything away by saying that. You just have to win them all, and then you're going to be in.
Yeah.
So, what's your strategy for the next round? How do you calm down after this match?
Well, I'm not on feature, so I'll probably be a lot more calm.
It's the best
still a
reply.
bit of pressure because I'm possibly on a bubble.
Yeah. I see, but still the best.
If I catch people off guard, like with Phantasme and main deck and a lot of hand traps.
Yeah, so let's not say it out too loud because people can hear in the venue here. Right, best of luck for the next 2 rounds. Would love to see you in the top cut. That is it for the first round of Swiss today. The next match that we're going to have on stream, we're going to find out who is going to Worlds because we're going to be featuring the semi-finals of the Dragon Duel Championship, because both finalists are going to be representing Europe together with the grown-ups at the World Championship in Berlin. So that's what we're going to have in store for you guys very, very soon. The players are already basically next to the stage. We just have to hack in their deck list, and then we're going to be back with the stream and find out who's going to Worlds.